you very much. We also just had the power of no, now it's all about the power of you. And the focus is all about reminding you how incredibly creative you are and how to, yeah, I'm not saying hopefully it's not very so, lovingly hand this microphone over to the human being. If you are leaving, can you just please do me a huge favour and write on the dream board that is going to completely shape next year's agenda. So write what your hopes are, what is currently blocking you, and that will be completely shaped what we've got on for next year. So yeah, thank you everyone. Without further ado,
hello. Thank you so much, Nikita, for such a lovely introduction. How is everybody? So I'm going to really invite in interaction in this session today. It's not me just giving you an hour's talk. There will be me talking a lot, but I'm really going to try and bring us all together today. And I want you to know that this is a very non-judgmental space and have a lovely time. Okay, I really want you to enjoy this session and to take something away from it as well. So anything is possible when you believe it to be. Absolutely anything, right? Look at what Nikita has created from a single thought. Okay, I'm going to see if I can set any record and make her cry within the first 30 seconds. But the thing is, right, is that this whole amazing festival has come out of Nikita's brain, but it's also come out of her body. And we're not just a single thing. We're not just entities that are moving without that connection. So today, please keep breathing. Please keep noticing when your body starts to tense. Please keep noticing when your thoughts start to change, or there's judgment, or there's a sense of, well, that's not possible for me. Because it is a really true thing, right? Anything is possible when you believe it to be. But the most important question is, what are you not believing is possible? Okay, what are you not believing is possible? Because that will be the thing that is holding you back. And if you have with you today a notepad or something to write on, or you want to whip out your phone notes, or Nikita's going to, that was my not so secret cue to Nikita to go and get the cards. If you want a bit of paper to write some stuff down, please do, because there's science in it, right? When we create, we are action, we are in action. We are not just sitting, thinking, having a thought, and then not doing anything on it. It's when we don't take action that things don't change. You have so much power within you. And we're going to be talking about that a bit today. I'm going to challenge you, and I invite you to challenge me back. Just because I'm standing up here does not mean I'm any better than any one of you, right? The only reason I'm here is that I heard about Sistaland, and I said to Nikita, this sounds amazing. And she said, well, there's this slot. And I said, okay, yes, please. And then we had a chat about the session, and I said, well, actually, how about we shape it to this? So again, a little bit like the previous session, I didn't just say yes. I said yes, but also, what about this? So don't feel like, even if you're saying yes and no in scenarios, that you don't, like Lottie said in the previous session, you don't actually not have a choice, so you don't have the ability to change. So what I'm going to do, just before we get going, just to really bring us into this space, to honour what you want from this session, is just to take a moment to shut down all your senses. Because we've been doing a lot of listening, of engaging, of taking all of it, like this amazing environment in. And I really, really, really want to allow a space for your subconscious, your unconscious, all the stuff you don't even realise you're carrying within you today to come up. And that happens when we allow ourselves to feel safe. So you know yourselves best as well, right? So wherever we go today, it's up for you to go in the direction. Don't avoid the discomfort or the thoughts of, I don't want to go there, but do obviously look after yourselves. Stuff can come up when we soften and surrender into the body. So just please look after yourselves, but have a lovely time. It's not going to be dangerous or anything. It's really important I say that, because psychological safety travels into our physical body. So again, just notice the breath, notice where you're tensing, and just breathe into it. You're in a really safe environment here today. So thank you in advance for being open-minded, for being open to change, for being open to challenge what we think about the industry, what we think about ourselves, what we think about one another, how we see ourselves in relation to one another. And taking a moment to close your eyes down. If you don't feel comfortable closing your eyes, just soften your gaze, just look down to the floor. And just take a nice deep breath in through the nose. Deep inhale breath. And exhale, just let it go. And in your own time, in your own breath, connecting in with the breath, just being conscious of any areas of tightness you might have in the body. In the stomach, often as women, we carry so much stress. We're sucking it all the time. We want to look a certain way. Just release it. Releasing between the brow. constant frown. I was always told at drama school, take that frown away. And into the jaw as well, right? So an area we carry a lot of tension. Maybe you open and close your mouth a little bit. Maybe give it a little massage. Just clocking any other areas of tension in the body. All the way down from the toes, through the hips, and up and out through the crown of the head. Really breathing into that rib cage. Noticing already where your brain is going. Noticing already any worries about the unexpectedness of this session. I'm not going to ask anyone to come and stand up at the front if that appeases any worries. When I said it's interactive, don't worry. But I am pleased going to invite you to use your voice today. We create from what we think, from what we say, and from what we do, and who we are. And it's by strengthening your voice in connection with your body in the actions that you take that you make change real for a better life for yourself. And we have to also be open to a better life for ourselves, which is incredibly challenging in the global landscape over the last couple of years. So I really want to invite in as women as well, and non-binary people who have carried a lot, who are used to being burnt out, who are used to being exhausted, who are used to doing it all, who are used to playing it small, who are used to hiding, to actually allow in the permission that you are allowed to be well-resourced. You're allowed to be energized. A state of burnout, which we've become so used to as part of our identity, does not have to be how you live in this life. And that also that compassion and that empathy that you have for other people does not mean that you are not also allowed a great life, and that by actually having that well-resourced state and energetic place, you can have a bigger impact with the stories that you will tell as a result, with the bravery and the courage that you will go and put out into the world. And I just want to invite in a question. What is it that you need today? In this moment, right now, in this room, at this festival, what do you need? What are you craving? And it could be something so random. Your brain might have gone to, oh, I really fancy chicken nugget and chips. Pink elephant might have come into your mind. Whatever it is, if you have a pen and paper there, just jot it down. It might be peace. It might be friendships, right? You might be like, oh my God, I really have loved being here. I don't want to leave. I want community. I want collaboration. I want to belong. Because the more we, as everyone has said, throughout all of these sessions over the last 2 days, I'm like, damn it, I was going to say that. Damn it, I was going to say that. Damn it, I was going to do that. But the thing is that actually repetition is great, and that's how we strengthen things. It's like a bicep curl. I've got a big background in fitness, so I might talk a bit about fitness stuff, but that's how we build strength, right? You don't just go and pick up a 10-kilogram dumbbell and whip out 10 bicep curls. Well, you might be able to, that's very impressive. But you'd probably injure yourself. So it's also about this idea of risk. It's about this idea of actually, yes, our body might say no, and our brain might say yes, and our heart might say, I don't know. But that's why we've got to bring our whole selves together to understand what is fear, and to understand actually what is risk and danger. Because the more you get to know yourself, and the more you communicate that, and the more you speak it, and the more you write it, and the more you put it out into the world, the stronger it gets. And then that's where you get the information from. So, just to put you all on the spot, well, not all of you, but is there anyone who would like to share what they need, or what came out from that question? Yeah? I'm just going to roam with my own mic.
I needed a stretch.
A stretch, great. Would you like to? Okay, everyone, anyone who is able to get up and have a stretch right now, please get up and have a stretch. And also, you can do it sitting down, right? So if you're not able to move, let's have a stretch. So we're going to do a bit of this today. Please be conscious of your neighbours. Please don't whack anyone in the face. But this intuition, right? I need to sit down because I've blocked out the iPad. But even this, right? So this is the other thing. Be conscious of your background thoughts. I could have been like, I really need to sit down to regroup, and not allowed myself, and that would have impacted my performance in this moment. So thank you for going along with that. You can have a little sit down now. Thank you. That's great. So really be conscious of your thoughts. Be conscious of what people say, but you don't have to listen to them. You don't have to take on board what everyone else is saying. It's going around this idea that you know yourself better. The world needs to see you. The industry needs to see you. We need stories. We need that diversity. We need it all, okay? But we have to be the ones to discern between what is good for us, what is good for someone else, what other people's intentions might be. We have no idea what anyone is thinking most of the time, but we assume we know. And I think if you are also heightened scenarios and situations where you have been impacted, you've had maybe trauma, you're stressed, your body is going to react to that. It's not going to want you to go back to those similar situations. So it is up for us to also kind of acknowledge it, breathe, process. Like today, you'll have thoughts come up, I don't know about that. Acknowledge it. That's interesting, right? Because within us, we've got this whole other world going on. There's like 95% of our thoughts are unconscious, but they drive our behaviours. They're the thing that make us go, I think I've got a glass of wine. It's not bad. Let's take morality out of our choices, okay? There is morality in choice, of course, but it's ultimately about your bigger purpose, what you want to have, and the things that are stopping you, often ourselves, not always, but sometimes, stopping you getting them. So, when you are aware of your thoughts, and someone says to you, often your mum or your dad or someone who's different to you, someone who doesn't maybe understand you on that level as you understand yourself, and they say, oh, are you sure about that? And we immediately go, oh, God, they know better than me. It's just to clock it and to think about it. Like everyone has said, take your time. As women, we are told we are constantly running out of time. Our ages, our looks are going, our bodies are changing, we've got to have a baby by this age, we've got to be married by that age, we've got to go to university, we've got to do all the things, but we get to choose how we respond to that. Yes, there are scientific, biological factors that come into certain things, but I had a client recently who was so stressed about a lot of people getting out of tricky situations, and I said to her, what would you do if you just had all the time in the world? And she was like, I'd have a glass of water. But it's like, it's laughable, but I've been there. And we get addicted almost to the like, oh, I'm really stressed, I'm really busy, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, because we're used to it. So we have to choose that we are allowed to be calm, energized, present, free, and also financially in a position to have choice. Because when you have money, you can spend money on ethical clothing brands. You can invest in films that you want to make yourself. You can help out friends. You can still be generous. You can be more generous. But the thing is, and I've learned this recently, it's a bit of a personal share, I wasn't going to say this, but the last couple of years have been like, what the fuck? Like, it's been mental, right? The world has been crazy. I've had loads of personal stuff going on. We have all of this stuff going on personally. We have to process the grief that we're also experiencing to realign our purpose and then give yourselves permission to profit from it. Because we are so heart-driven, many of us. You have such deep intentions with your work. You are here because you want to have an impact. You are here not just to make stuff. You are connected to the work that you are doing, and only you know that. Only you. I can't come and do the work that you're doing. I can't do the work that you're doing. You're so incredibly unique. And your stories matter, and your background matters, and our difference matters, okay? It's so important. And I'm just going to try something now, and I don't know how it's going to go. I don't know how it's going to land, but we'll try it. So, if you think about yourself in the perception of the industry, right, this thing that we all are like doing this, well, I do this a lot with things, with words, I do that a lot, because we get to choose the value of a word. So it's the same as what we were saying before. Words are the most powerful tool in this world, the most underrated, powerful tool in this world. How you talk to yourself, how you communicate about yourself, how you talk to other people, how you talk to other people about yourself. It all impacts your energy, it impacts your self-worth, it impacts what you're allowing yourself, it impacts also what you are giving and what you are receiving. We have to be open to receive as much as we give. If you consider you and the industry, you are very real. I'm not going to do that to you. You are all very real. But you can consider yourself, and then you consider the industry. Show me, if you can, be careful of one another, with your hands, and if you want to get up, feel free to move slightly intuitively, just be careful of one another. Please show me with your hands or your body, your perception of the size of the industry. When you think about it, thank you, yeah, right, yeah. Yeah, this is why I was like, please be careful, because generally, so, and if you don't feel, let's try this with our eyes shut, because I really want everyone to get involved with this. So close your eyes, please, because I know what it's like when you're very new in these scenarios. I've done so much work myself to be up here on this stage over the last decade of my life, I can't tell you. This, for me right now, this moment is like, my version of myself a year ago would have laughed at the idea of being up here. So I understand how scary it can feel to feel like you're being looked at, to feel like you're being watched. I know how vulnerable that is. And I know what it's like when you're in scenarios where you don't feel like you have the choice to get out of them. You do. So in this moment, I'm going to ask that question again. No one is judging you. There's no right or wrong. There is no should. There is nothing here. We're taking it all out. It's just an exploration. When you think about the industry, show me with your arms that perception of the industry. Please, and thank you so much. Wonderful. Thank you. Okay, great. So I'm going to show you. You can put your hands down now. Most of you are like this. So, next question. Feel free, let's close eyes again. I really, 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 really want you guys to really have the chance to connect in this moment in time for yourselves, to walk away here having changed something. If you consider yourself now in relation to the industry, please show me with your hands or your arms the size of yourself. Interesting, interesting. Okay, thank you, release that. Okay, that was varied, okay? But the majority were here. We had some people here. We had a couple out here, which is great. And it doesn't mean anything, it's just the perception of your perception, that's all that matters. My perception here is not as important as your perception. I'm just helping you to unlock some stuff. If you consider now your peers, we're all peers here in theory. We all have a very similar mindset, energy. It's been a wonderful couple of days connecting with everyone of the same being. If you can close your eyes down again, because this one might be a bit more awkward. I don't know. This is just, we're just testing. So if you consider yourself and your peers, please show me with your arms your perception of your peers in the industry, the people you work with. Ooh. Ooh, thank you, thank you. This was, okay, great, thank you so much. So interesting, so we had out here, we had upside down. Interesting. Okay, so I think you can probably guess, no prize for guessing here, but close your eyes back down one last time. Thank you for doing all this with me. And I'm going to invite you now to consider yourself in relation to your peers. When you think about yourself in relation to the people you work with, the people maybe even in this space right now, please show me the size of you in relation to your peers. And it can be across any industry, right? Because we're all kind of, even if we're in the creative industry, it's always different. Great. Thank you. That was very interesting. Most people are like, here, that's good, that's great. Cool, no right or wrong, we're just going to play with it. Okay, amazing. So I'm going to invite you to get up and just shake that off for me for a second. Or if you can't stand up, please just move, take a breath in, and then come back down when you're ready. Okay, so does anyone have anything there they feel like they'd like to share? You don't have to. I'm just going to keep doing this throughout the session on the invitation that the more you speak, the stronger you will get. I'm going to feel like Annika Rice. I'm probably, I don't know, some of you might be too old for Annika Rice. Too young.
I'll try and make this into a question. When we were just doing that exercise, a lot of things that came to my mind were, do we all think that our egos are going to be really big if we show that we're this big? And I work with a lot of women on set in production. I usually build the team myself. And it makes me very sad to think that a lot of us also maybe did this just now. It makes me quite emotional because a lot of us think we're this small. But actually, I think that my question is like, how do you think that we can make other women on set, in work, in non-life situations feel empowered to feel like they're this big? And not in comparison necessarily, but just standing in their own power.
Thank you, what a wonderful question. So for anyone that didn't quite hear that at the back, we were kind of talking about how we have this worry sometimes that we might be seen as a certain thing. Like if we take up that space and we have the confidence, oh, they're going to be arrogant, they're going to be like big-headed, they're going to be difficult, they're going to be all these things, they're going to be an attention seeker. This misogynistic language that we use against ourselves and against one another, which is why I really hammer home the importance of thought about yourselves, about how you see yourselves, about how you communicate about yourselves, and also because that will then help other women to do the same. So if we lead by example, if we are also respecting ourselves, if we are also honouring that as best we can, none of us are perfect, we're going to make mistakes, but that's how we learn, is to kind of see one another and welcome in one another, because in that respect we're not rejecting, so we have to self-accept ourselves. So in order for other women to feel accepted, to feel a part of something, we have to accept ourselves. If we are constantly rejecting our own selves, whether that's through how we talk about ourselves, putting ourselves down, thinking it's all over, thinking there's no chance, thinking it's all about all of the things we don't have, we're never going to rise above, because there is a sense of less than. It's, like you say, that element of self-worth. And I think what you will hopefully get from today is some things that you can then take on to set, that you can talk about, that you can start to practice yourself, to then generate that own belief in yourself, to then have that confidence to communicate it in your own way, right? So it's not about saying, oh God, I've got to go home, and I've got to remember what Kate said. It's about discovering your way of building that yourself, your muscles, your the things that help you build confidence. And I mean, I was going to reference it at the end, but I'll reference it now. It's also about really celebrating one another, taking that time on set to say, thank you so much, what a frigging great shot, right, on to the next. Taking that time to see the work, rather than it being like, we've got to get to that next goalpost. And I know what it's like highly pressurized, stressful environments. It's like the whole body goes into, we run on adrenaline. So it is also that importance of we have time to breathe, to connect with the body, to do what you did at the beginning, even if it's a quiet moment in the toilet, even just taking a breath, having a slower exhale breath, grounding down like you would do, if you imagine you're a tree or something, just to connect back into the reality and the truth of a situation. I have something called the Thrive Method, which I've developed over 24 years, and the T of the Thrive Method is truth. Truth is going to help you sort out anxiety. It's going to help you it's not going to solve everything. Don't get me wrong, I went through a divorce in my early 30s, had to move back with my parents, needed all the antidepressants, got the therapy, had the GP stuff, get help. Don't ever feel like you have to do it alone. This is the other thing, we're very good at suffering in silence, we're very good at cracking on, but when we've got loads of other stuff going on, we must process it. If we're not processing what we're feeling, if we're not processing those emotions, it does not make you weak. I'm a super emotional person. I've had to learn how to regulate emotions, partly also having discovered last year that I'm also ADHD. All these things kind of come out of the woodwork, don't they? But we embrace them and we accept them and we allow them to land, and then you can build on that. That's how you become your own unique individual, rather than being like, oh, but actually that director who I've given loads of value to said I should be like that, so they know best. And then all of a sudden your creative genius, which was sitting over here in you, is like, oh, I'm just going to go do what they said, which is totally fair, because we want to do well and we care and we respect people. But it's also they're saying in the previous session, we get the chance to say, oh, actually, what do I think? What do you think? And then you can start cultivating that environment too, which is amazing. So the fact you even care is incredible. And I think there is this sense that it's a process, it's a muscle, it's a growth, a period of growth. We're never going to just jump out the box. And it's that compassion that you have for the moments of being brave, for taking proof of it. Whenever I get testimonials from people I've worked with, whenever I've had a win of any kind, I take a screenshot of it and I save it and I go back to it. So we also have to set ourselves up for success. We have to be open to the idea that we're actually good, that we actually know what we're talking about, that you know what you're talking about, that your unique creative skill cannot be matched by anyone else, and that your ingenuity is what the world wants and needs. And so by kind of dipping your fingers into the pies and trying some stuff over there and then celebrating it, you're going to keep building that sense of self-worth, of self-identity. There's an amazing quote by Annie Duke, who is a poker player, who wrote a book called Quit. And god damn it, my slide did not save the quote, so I might hash this up a little bit. But the quote is something like this: when who you are is what you do, then what you do becomes hard to abandon, because it means quitting who you are. And I think especially in the creative industries, we've become so attached to the job title. What do you do? What did you last work on? And it's actually well, who are you underneath all of that? That's what matters. That's the magic. That's the energy. We want to keep your mood and your self-esteem and your energy not up, because we don't want to have crashes. We want to find that stable middle ground where even if you're not working, you feel like you have that value. I'm still having a great life, because actually if I'm working or not, or wherever I think it was Holly yesterday was saying, it doesn't matter if you're not earning the money from your creative art or your creative industry or your whatever it is. It doesn't mean you're not that person. It just means the money is coming in from somewhere else. And so when we are so attached to the identity of something, it also stops evolution. So that's what stops the growth. That's what stops you from actually then making a change, because it's just natural. Like, it becomes who we, it's who we become. I had a baby 3.5 years ago, and holy hell, I mean, oh my God, I only just feel like I'm coming out of the tunnel again. It takes time, and if you're pregnant right now, it's great. I love it. Come up to tell me afterwards. I was like, calm down, anyway. Okay, great, you're fine. I was like, oh my God, does she? Okay. But you know what I mean? Like, the identity change of that, and there are people that will attest that they're like, oh my God, she was changing her business every 5 seconds. But that is okay, Like, sometimes we need to test and we need to iterate. But there is also this sense of confidence to say, oh, actually, this is where I feel really great. This is really good. And then we might go like, oh, but I'm not stressed, so that's wrong. Because we've got so used to being stressed and under-resourced and in the hard that we've forgotten how great life can be. So we have to see our value beyond the title. And in those moments where perhaps we are exhausted or resources are tanked, is to say, I need to go and recharge. There is no shame in going and getting a different source of income. There is also no shame in saying, oh, I'm a creative genius here. I can go and make 10 different income streams from my work. You don't just have to follow a specific plan. Think outside the box. And if you are exhausted, I wrote this down earlier, we've got to stop focusing on the hard and instead focus on the how and the who and the what. This is where collaborations from environments like this are incredibly powerful. Incredibly powerful, incredibly powerful. Like, it's basically what you were saying about being on set, right? There is also a fear of competition. And the whole point of this talk and this session is to say there is no competition. No one can compete with you. I cannot compete with a single one of you. Look at Tom Cruise. He is unapologetically Tom Cruise. He does not give a shit what you think about him because he is successful, he is great. God knows what goes on behind closed doors. I'm not condoning people, remember, right? Here's Tom Cruise. Well, I can't be like Tom Cruise because he's bad. He's a Scientologist and he's been a very negative person at times. Very true. But he has been incredibly successful at being unapologetically Tom Cruise. I'm so sorry, I can't help it. He's just such a prime example. And there's obviously many, many women as well, right? So we've got so many, you'll have your own, I'm sure. But whether it's Kate Blanchett, Kate Winslet, mine's gone blank. Who else? Who do you look up to as individuals who've just really owned it? Miriam Margolyes, yes. Anyone else? Lily Allen, yes. Still haven't listened to that album. I need to listen to it. Who else? Anyone else? And they can be anyone. They don't. Your mum, yes, exactly. Thank you. So I was going to say, right, they can be people closer to us, people we really admire and respect, who just like. It's not even necessarily about being unapologetic. It's just people that really are in their own skin and they are authentically themselves. And the problem now is that already, if your brain's gone, oh, she's used that word, she's used that authentic word. Like how we roll our eyes, even if it's not that dramatic, and how we think in response to what people have is going to be negatively impacting you if you think what they have is bad. And this is why there's so much talk about things like money mindset, success mindset. Because if you are associating things like people having money with very bad things, which we see play out in the world all the time, people abusing power and wealth, you as decent people, your subconscious, who wants to be liked, who wants to be loved, who wants to fit in, who wants to belong, is going to say, well, I can't have that because they are going to reject me. The people I love are going to reject me if I have these things. I've had to do loads of work on that myself. It's a constant work in process. And it's only when, it's like when you are training for something or you've hit a period of time in work, you're like, oh, I'm bored, I'm just like numb. It's time for change, it's time for growth. You've hit a plateau. And it's also kind of acknowledging that, yeah, sure, sometimes it's really nice to stay comfortable, but sometimes it's a chance to be like, oh, it's time to move. It's time to make a change. And that's why when I say there is no competition, it doesn't have to be around this idea that you can't also have apology, right? We've got to own it. We have to be self-accountable. We have to be self-accountable. I'm not even going to list my mistakes because we'd be here a very long time. But some of them are very painful. And there's also this idea that even if you have made incredibly painful mistakes in your life, use them for good. Not as punishment against yourself, but as a way to make a positive change for someone else so that they don't feel so alone, or so that they don't make the same mistakes, and so it validates their experiences. Or you just use it for good and you say, okay, well, I've got a new purpose there, but not against yourself. I was talking about this the other day about guilt. I felt so guilty the last couple of years. I'm such a privileged person. I went to uni. I grew up in a really lovely place. Like, I'm white. Like, these things. And then the world. And then your brain. And then you're like, oh, I feel so guilty. And then my dad's ill. And then I was like, oh my God, but now what? And then I realized I was just sitting at home crying a lot of the time. And I was like, I have to make a choice. Like, we have to make a choice. Yes, it's hard. It does not diminish the fact that it's hard. But if we are stuck in that mentality of this is hard, you can't see opportunity. You can't imagine what possibility is out there for you. You can't even say, oh my God, my dream's over there, but I'm here in the hard. So we have to choose to be like, there it is, I'm going there, there's the vision. And I love dreams. Anyone that says dreams, whatever, okay. It's up to you, right? Your opinion doesn't matter what other people say. Don't let other people dent your own ingenuity, your own passion, your own heart, whoever you are. Just allow that to be here. So we're going to play with a little bit more visualization now. So I'm just going to invite you to take a moment again to quieten down the mind, to breathe. Just to acknowledge anything that's just been coming in and swirling in around that. Take a deep breath in through the nose again. Exhale, let it go. And I will say as well, as I do this visualization, there's no right or wrong way. Some people don't see visually in their minds. Some of us don't see image. So if you don't see image, don't panic. We're going to try and give you some access points into tapping into all of this. But just taking a couple of moments to connect back in with yourself, connecting back in with your body. And just remembering that no one has your own uniqueness. You are so magical as who you are. So we're going to take a moment now. I'm going to invite you to imagine that you are either watching your life over the last year play out on a cinema screen, or like a play on a stage, or perhaps you're like a fly or a pink elephant or whatever, flying back over your last 12 months. So it's like you're watching your last 12 months play out as a film, or watching it like someone in an aeroplane flying over your last 12 months, watching the last 12 months of your life play out. And you're watching yourself go through your life over the last year, having a chance to just reflect, to look at the moments that perhaps really stood out, perhaps things you didn't even expect. Perhaps it's been a really gnarly year, but perhaps it's also been the best year of your life. But what do you notice about the moments that stand out? Maybe it was a single conversation. Maybe you did say that first no. Maybe you prioritized your health. Maybe you started going to the gym, and that was a really tough move. Maybe it's a very specific birthday or something that someone's given you. It could be a combination of lots of these things. But what are you proud of from that last 12 months? What really shines out as an amazing thing? And this is something that you can do with your teams and with your people in self-reflection and with yourself a lot of the time too. We're so good at chasing the next goalpost without actually acknowledging what we've achieved and what we've created. But what stands out for you? What are you proud of? What have you overcome? What have you tapped into? And how different has that version of you become over the last year? And just if you ever want to share anything, write it down, like something that's really shone out for you, just jot it down, right? Because words are important. Writing it down is important. There's science behind all of this. I know we roll our eyes at things like journaling, but it's really important. It gets it inside out. And speaking things into reality makes them real, just as much as writing. It really honors it. It brings it to the surface. And if anyone would like to share what they are proud of or what, you don't have to, but if anything has come up, yeah. I'm gonna roving mic.
So while I was visualizing that, mostly what I was seeing was people chucking pumpkins and rats and things at me, and then the fairy godmother suddenly in Cinderella, and I'm going, what pumpkin? It's a coach. And all of that has happened over the last year, and so I'm kind of Cinderella now.
Yes. Yeah, do you like it? Okay, great.
Congratulations, and thank you for sharing that because it is quite personal, some of this stuff. So I do really appreciate the shares. I think it's really important to honour, right? Honouring the hard times. It's really important. Life is not easy, but it doesn't mean that we have to stay stuck in that. We can use those challenges. We can choose to try and move through them as best we can. And sometimes we need support. Sometimes we need help. But often it is also the looking into what you need consistently. Does anyone else have anything they'd like to share? Yeah?
I'm paralysed sitting on this hay.
So I lived up in Nottingham for 6 years, and it was my uni experience. I had a serious accident up there. I went into my first bit of career up there, so it was like a really big change because we're from down south. And I finally decided to leave Nottingham, which for me was huge because it was like you're letting go from the first place moving out of home, the first bit in a good career, and I was really worried of, moving back in with my parents. And I've still got my house up there, so like managing it from down south, and just this huge step of literally every single part of my life changing, not just finding a new house, a new job, but everything, finding a new sports team. And so, yeah, I'm just really proud that I've taken that step because I'm down now. It's only been 2 weeks, but it's not that bad.
And it's really good.
That's brilliant.
Well, thank you so much for sharing, because also change, right? We can be so terrified of change, and it's understandable. Our bodies and our brains wants to keep us safe. That's why that differentiation and that discernment between that nervousness, the concept of imposter syndrome, is it actually that you don't belong, or is it you're just nervous because it's a new environment, and that there are people there that you might perceive to know more than you? Have compassion for that feeling, process it, understand yourself, speak to yourself. Like Lottie was saying, please get comfortable with talking to yourself. Please get comfortable to talking with your body parts. Like, oh, what's that? Excuse me, Mr. Like tight right shoulder. Like, what have you got to say? And just play with it. Allow it to come up, because your body has so much wisdom, as much as our logical brain does as well, right? We can change our thoughts. Resilience is important, but so is kind of the mental strength that you can build, and the idea that we're all going to burn out if we don't take the break. None of us are invincible. I know it's devastating, but we all do have a breaking point. It doesn't mean you're a bad person. It just means that actually you're human, and it's so important to honour that. You feel like a duvet day, take the duvet day. I literally prescribe Netflix and chill to my clients. I'm like, please go and have a glass of wine on a Monday. I was saying about this earlier, like we put morality on days of the week. Why? Like, fair enough, right? It gives us structure. It's understandable. We've conditioned to structure. We need it as humans. It's great. But we want to balance your own. That might be a terrible idea for you to have a glass of wine on Monday. Don't do it. Don't follow anyone else's plan. Get to know what makes you feel great. Get to know yourself on a deeper level. What do you love? Like, what makes you excited? What gives you a kick? Who are you outside of work? What do you love to spend your money on? What would you do if you had all the money in the world? Actually, that's a great question. Have a think. If you had all the money, you were the most well-resourced person in the world. You were the Tom Cruise version of yourself. You were so unbelievably, you're not being Tom Cruise. You're being like, if you were to follow his basically way of living, of just really owning his, and anyone's ability, Miriam Margolyes, to just be themselves. Like, if you were to truly own that, and you had all the time and all the money and all the resources you had in the world, what would you do? And just jot it down, whatever comes up. This idea that money is not the only currency. Leverage everything. Everything is an ecosystem of energy. Whether it's time, money, energy, love, wherever you give your attention to, it's energy. Your time to, it's energy. Your money to, it's energy. So you've got to be open to receiving it back. The compliment. You look amazing today. Thank you. Oh, but don't forget about the dog shit on the floor, on my shoe that I trod on. We can be so self-deprecating. It's uncomfortable to be like, thank you, and not say anything else. Or to be like, oh, sorry, I've been going on too long. I've had a lot of that the last couple of days. It's all right? It's no right or wrong, but we apologise for ourselves a lot. And actually, would Tom Cruise apologise for giving a long answer? Probably not. He might. Just don't feel like you're not allowed to say all the things you want to say. And it is a muscle, right? Communication is not just speech, it's also body language, it's also how you move, it's how you, express yourself. And all of that changes your energetics and how you feel and how you then present in a room or how you go on set. And by making it also safe for other people to say, I don't know the answer to that, I'm not sure. We feel terrible sometimes if we don't know the answer to something. It's okay if you don't know the answer to something. Doesn't mean that you're suddenly going to fail the test of life. Keep being aware of the thoughts that come in that say, I can't have that because it's bad. I can't do this because that means I'm like that. I actually wrote, I haven't mentioned his name yet, but I wrote Elon Musk down in this. Right, your reaction's okay. But look at what that man has done because he thought he could. I am against everything that he stands for. But all these things can coexist, and it's so important that we get clear that blanket statements that become our thoughts can really cost you a lot. They become the thing that say, what are you not believing in because of it? So we're going to play a little bit now, and I'm going to go one last visualization, and we'll see what wisdom you get from this one. So just take a moment to, again, shut down, close your eyes, or not, whatever you feel like is good for you. Just connecting into that breath. And take some really deep breaths, right? Because we're quite chill here. We're going to have a little bit of energy back in. So just knowing as well that even how you're sitting in a day, that can impact how you feel. And you can turn any bad day around by a single choice in your head. By the single decision to say, actually, I'm going to have a good day today. Actually, I choose to earn the great money. Actually, I choose to go out there and do what I want, even if at home I've got this really challenging situation going on, even if the people around me are suffering. And I get it, right? I'm a deeply empathetic person. I understand how painful it can be to see other people suffering. But we're going to see now the impact that you can have when you truly step into your own unique potential by truly owning who you are as an individual, really honoring your own creative skills, but importantly, who you are as a person beyond the job title, what you want to create, what you want to make, the purpose you want to have, the impact you want to have. And we're going to fly into the future. We are going to go not just a year down the line. I'm not sure how old we all are here, but we're going to go decades. So you're going to imagine now, or I'm going to invite you to imagine now, that you are 90 years old. And you are sitting in your favorite place, perhaps in the world. Maybe it's a country or a room. And maybe you're sitting watching the sun go down with a gin and tonic, or you're sitting in bed with a cup of tea. And you take a moment to consider that you have had the most incredible life. You have lived so intentionally, with such confidence in yourself, with such self-compassion and self-acceptance, with self-respect and self-leadership. And you have lived with the most truest accountability to yourself and who you are. You have figured it all out, and you have had a life that you never thought was possible. You've built a home that is warm and safe and loving. You are there as the person that you always dreamt you were going to be. And you have absolutely loved every single second. And the moments that have been hard, you have overcome, and they have made you who you are in that moment at 90 with that gin and tonic or that cup of tea. And you have just really honored yourself. You have really honored your unique ability, creativity, vigor, and intent on the purpose that you want to have in this world, the impact you want to have. This 90-year-old version of you has some wisdom to impart to you in this room right now. They have something to tell you about how they got there, about what you need to do to get to that version of you at 90. And they're going to give that gift of information to you right now. What does that version of you at 90, having lived the most thriving, freest, fullest life, what do they tell you? What do they tell you to do? Who do they tell you to be? What do they encourage you to even say, perhaps, or to acknowledge, or to honour. And if that 90-year-old version of you has told you something, then just jot it down so you have it. Because that 90-year-old version of you has incredible wisdom. They really know. And there is an inevitability about that. There is a destiny that when you live truly in alignment with yourself and who you are and your values and everything like that, you will not become Elon Musk. You will not become these horrible, horrible, horrible people in the world that we see. You will have lived with such integrity because that is who you are in this room right now. You are not the people to have damage with the impact you want to have. You are the people that will change the world for the better as a result of the words that you write, the films that you make, the books that you put together, and the collaborations that can come out of events like this when we are not scared of being in competition because there is no one that can compete with you when you are yourself. And that we can be scared of one another sometimes, but we can acknowledge that and just say, oh, what's going on here? That's curious. What's that reaction? Is it fear, or am I just in the presence of someone I respect? You know, as women, we are really pitted against one another. But how much time and energy is going out on that? On the fact that we don't have time and we're losing time because we don't have time, we're going too fast. And that you have time to rest and recharge and refuel. You can't run a marathon without doing that. We've got to cross-train, we've got to have variety, you've got to go in and out and do different things. It's the experience of life. Does anyone have anything there that they'd like to share that their 80-year-old version of themselves has said? Yeah? Or 90, whatever age.
I mean, my 90-year-old was very glamorous. I looked at her hands, they were wrinkly with experience and knobbly, but we had huge gold rings on.
Right.
And she said to me, don't be scared.
Thank you. Yeah. And thank you so much. Don't be scared, right? And the appearance of it's so important, you know, who you look like too.
Kind of along a similar line, mine said, do it scared and stop assuming you're unwelcome.
Right. Do it scared and stop assuming you're unwelcome. Right? Don't assume before you've even walked in the room that you're not wanted. And we don't walk in the rooms because we're terrified of being rejected, which is understandable.
I'll be greedy and say two things.
Yeah, go for it.
First thing is you're exactly who you say you are. The power of the tongue is very, for me, it's poignant because you can either say things that are bad about yourself or you can speak life into yourself. And the other thing is, I said this earlier, decenter the gaze of people because who gives, excuse my French, a fuck about what anyone thinks of you. It shouldn't be about anyone else's opinion. Yours should be the only one that matters.
Yeah. Thank you so much. And I think there's something in that too about the gaze, right? We're conditioned, we've been brought up on the male gaze. Filming, you're gone? Oh, I think. Oh, the gaze. I was like, yes. Oh, and the gaze. Yes, the gaze and the gaze. Sorry, I should. Take a bow, take a bow. So, yes, gosh, I hadn't even put two and two together on how that could have come across. What I was saying on the male gaze, looking, and gaze as in choice, right? So, yes, thank you. But it's true, right? We've grown up kind of being like, well, we have to look a certain way, we have to be a certain thing. And actually, it is important what came up around how your 90-year-old version of yourself looked, because that was about self-expression. That was around, like, they're wearing the gold jewellery and they're wrinkly and they're who they are. They haven't tried to stop that. There is an embrace, but we all have our own choice. There's no right or wrong. So that's the other thing. Where are we judging people on their choices? And it's inhibiting you from you making free choices because you're worried about what other people might think of your choices, which is what you were saying there. Yeah, go on. Oh, thank you. So, you know, on that, it's really important to acknowledge where you are holding your own self back as a result of your judgment of others too. It's uncomfortable. We've got to do the uncomfortable work to get what we want, and that's uncomfortable in itself. So I want to make sure you walk away with something today, and just take one last moment. I've got 1 minute left. I might be cheeky and take 90 seconds, but we'll do it one. So close your eyes just one last time. It's this time next year. You have left today with that knowledge and that wisdom that your 90-year-old version of yourself has said. They've said to trust yourself. They've said to be brave. They've said to go out there and do your thing. And this version of yourself in 1 year's time has done that. And they have honoured it. And they have been brave and they've been courageous. And there have been many moments of huge change and many pitfalls. But you've got up and you've got on and you've done it. And you've got to a year down the line. What is the one thing that you need to do when you leave here today to take a step closer to that version of you that is your destiny, that is inevitable, that is going to happen because it is in your future? What is the one thing you will do today when you leave to honour that and to take a physical step closer to that version of you that is that 90-year-old version of yourself, that destiny of that creative, individual power of you? And just jot it down and then please, please go take the action. We cannot make change without also doing the gnarly stuff, the action, the making change, the thinking differently, the living differently, the prioritizing health, the taking time to recharge, the making that the new norm, the collaboration, the seeing one another and just allowing that. Yeah.
I just wanted to say, just on that, about looking at our future selves. I know so many people here would have written a letter to their self in 1 year's time at the Shorties stand, and we tied it into the web of universe, which was the Dreamcatcher. Now I invite you to go and get your letter that you wrote to yourself and take it in your bag and put it in a drawer and open it next year. So we've put the letters out just there. I just want to let everyone know, please pick up your letter. And see you next year.
So yes, please go and take that action. You know, you get to choose how you leave today. Leave the doors when you leave with intention, with the energy that you want to walk back out into the world. It sounds cheesy, but every choice you make has an impact. The dots only connect when you look back. Lovely quote from Steve Jobs, right? Every little step matters. Doesn't matter how big or small, but you've got to keep taking them. So just remember, anything is possible when you believe it to be, but you have to believe it's possible. You have to choose that it is possible. And what do you need to believe and accept that is possible to make it happen? So go take that step. No step too big, right? No dream too big, no step too small. Please keep just going, living out there with your own unique intention and creativity. And thank you so much for this last hour, for the whole weekend. The whole weekend? The whole 2 days. Well done. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Nikita, wherever you are. I feel like Nikita needs to bow.
Thank you so much. Guys, can we give it up one more time for our keynote speaker today? I think it was incredible and very, very awe-inspiring. And I'm hijacking the mic now unapologetically because I wanted for us to gift Nikita this little something, you know? Because I think you're incredible, Nikita, and the fact that you have curated this space for us. Don't you cry, because I'm going to cry. Come forward, lady. Come and get your flowers. Well, not flowers, relatively a tree. And I'd just like to talk about the symbolism of this tree. Because I could have got you some shoddy flowers from Sainsbury's, but I prefer to maybe give you something that lasts longer. Because it's emblematic of Sistaland, right? We want this to have longevity, and we will support you. We're your community, we've got your back, just like you had ours for these past 2 days, even beyond, because I know how hard you've worked, and the team, and how much you've put into this. This woman, I don't know if I'm okay to say this, but this woman gave up a comfortable place of abode to fund this festival, guys. This very festival that we're all in, that is a selfless act of greatness and kindness and consideration for our community, and I just want to thank you.
Anyway, I can't even begin to tell you how grateful I am. Ooh. Yeah. I honestly cannot tell you, or put into words. The last couple of days, everyone keeps saying, "How are you feeling?" And I'm like, I don't know. I actually don't know how I'm feeling. I'm so grateful. I can't even look you all in the face. It's too hot. I'm so grateful for all of you, the speakers, and everyone that I've come into contact with. Sistaland has existed for 3 years. It was a community that was built out of struggle, my struggle, and an ex-husband who told me I couldn't do this. He's an ex-husband now. And you've obviously seen my partner. I have to mention Freddie, because he has been absolutely with every element of getting this together. We both worked equally as hard to put everything up and make it all perfect. But I am so grateful for all of you. This is literally just the beginning. I nearly left the industry. That's why I started Sistaland. Well, I did leave the industry and then I came back. But I still keep my toes in to make sure that what I'm building for you here with Sistaland is what you need. And I am going to fight to my death probably, to make this happen every single year, and it will just grow and grow and grow, and I'm dedicating that to you guys, and I will make that happen. I work every hour under the sun to make sure that communities like this exist for all of us. We all need it. Life is tough, you know, and it's hard, and it's sometimes not colourful, and I want to bring colour into our space and remind everybody that regardless of what you're creating, whether it's small or something super ambitious, you have the power to do it. Honestly, I was a shell of a human being 5 years ago, not the person I am today, and that was only because of community. That is the only thing that kept me going through all of that. So I'm so grateful, and next year we are doing this over 3 days. It will be much more spread out program, and the reason why we have the hay bales is because it will be at this beautiful retreat on a lake in the forest. So that is what I have planned. That is what's going to happen next year.
Where do I sign up?
Yeah. Yeah. So on those QR codes actually is the link to get involved for next year. I want everybody to have some involvement. It's not, I hate going to events where you just feel like you're a presence, you're not part of it. That's not what this is about. You are all shaping the creation of what this is. And I want you all to be a part of that. And yeah, my inbox is always open for even at 2 o'clock in the morning. Sometimes I do email. But my inbox is always open for anyone that wants to curate anything. And we will do this, and I'm so excited for next year, and I can't wait to tell you what we've got coming. It's just going to be incredible. Yeah.